Hello everyone, Violet here, and today we're going to take a look at this upcoming full moon. It's actually going to be tomorrow from when this video goes up. So tomorrow, Monday, we are also going to be doing live full moon readings. So today we're going to do a collective spread for this full moon, and if you like it and you want it for yourself tomorrow, you can come on in and get that reading. So this is in Capricorn, this full moon, and in July, the full moon is also called the buck moon, as well as the herb moon. So we've got an herbal astrology deck here to add a little bit of herbal wisdom. But our spread is called the White Stag spread, and this is a spread that I actually first did last year, and I'm so excited to return to it. I'm going to add a little bit of extra elements to it as well. But the spread is special to me because I have actually seen a white stag in real life. It was an albino male deer with the antlers and everything, and it felt to me like such a mystical and almost unbelievable type of experience that I was like, this is like what seeing a unicorn might feel like, you know, like this is like that. So we're using the Unicorn Tarot, as well as once again tuning into our animal guides and guardians. We're using the Wild Unknown Animal Oracle deck, as well as the Herbal Wisdom. Like we said, this is also called the Herbal Moon. But I was thinking that the energy of Capricorn being the goat and the buck moon, these like horned animals, there's a sort of majesty to the spread that aligns with that image and that feeling. So we'll see. Other animals will come through, I'm sure. That would be pretty cool though, if like those were the animals that came through this deck. All right, so we're gonna go ahead and shuffle the cards and make the spread, and then we'll get our messages. All right, so here we have it. So let me know if you can see this, but this is the face of the buck, of the deer. We've got eyes, we've got a nose. The face is made up of the tarot cards. Then we have two antlers, and they are white to represent the white stag. And we have our two animal figures. This side represents the guardian. This side represents our guide. So we also have herbal allies on either side as well to kind of help with that energy. So let's take a look and see. My intention for the face of the spread, before we flip them over, I haven't seen which cards we've gotten yet. My intention for the face is to be, you know, what is it that we are and embodying right now, and also what is it that we're facing. So this middle card is kind of focused on what we're embodying. We do have this witch's rune for commitment, for love, and our card is strength in reverse. I wonder if this, and you know, this is actually a message that's been coming up a lot, is that we might be in a state of sort of almost like energetic lack because we've been overgiving. And the message that feels like it wants to come through to me with this is like, all right, this is where we're coming from. We're coming from a place of deficit. We're coming from a place of overdoing it. And perhaps with this rune, it's because we feel that to be valuable or to keep things with us and people with us that we want with us, we feel like we almost have to prove ourselves by giving so much of ourselves, and we're worried like what happens, will we disconnect from the things that we value so much if we were to pull back our energy or pull back what it is that we're offering. So instead of taking from, you know, what we think we might be taking from our connections and our relationships, we're actually stealing from ourselves in that. And with the strength card in reverse, what we end up stealing from is our longevity. to continue. You know what I mean? Because strength upright is a lot about like pacing yourself so that you have longevity and so that you can, you know, keep going. And so really in a way we're stealing from our future self. And I think that that's a big message that wants to come through here. It's with good intentions. It's because we want to be there for others. We want to help others. We want to especially like keep the relationships or the situations or the causes close to us and connected with us. But this is the message here, is that we're starting from a place of deficit. So let me know if you resonate. By the way, also, hello everyone who's watching this as a premiere. If you're here live, hi. Feel free to chat in the chat, or if you're watching this later, feel free to put in the comments what resonates, you know, what this makes you think of. So from this place, and we realize this, and hopefully our animal and herbal allies can help us with this state, let's take a look at maybe what it is we're facing. And so this is aligned with both of the eyes. It's kind of like what we see coming. This is our foresight. This is what we're facing. So we have this harvest symbol on one side, and we have the star symbol on the other, which is beautiful actually, because this feels like where we're coming from. So, you know, what have we grown and what can we harvest? And then where are we going with the star? What is leading us? What is our desire? Like, you know, what's pulling us forward? So maybe we can bring that also, that kind of energy into the antlers as well. That's what like each of these sides might represent a little bit too. It makes sense that the guardian might be there actually because of what it is we have been through. And then the guide, of course, is leading us forward. So it kind of feels like everything's coming together. So let's see, connected to our harvest symbol, Page of Swords. Interesting. I'm going to actually just pull out both of them. And the Empress in reverse. Okay. So I wonder if the Page of Swords is kind of indicating almost a bit of like, I feel like I'm going to say this word wrong. Naivete, like naive, like being a little bit naive, being a little bit kind of like thinking that we can handle certain things, or thinking that things are going to be a certain way. And maybe in a way it was a little bit of like wishful thinking. And now we're at a deficit because or this is even just, you know what it's making me think of, like in my personal life, for example, and actually some things I've heard from other people, like if we're coming from a place of wanting to offer something without realizing how much it will take from us to offer that. So that's the page. It's like not realizing like the full weight of what it is that we're offering. But the swords is our intention, and that's, once again, it's like this is why you know, this is what I want to do and what I imagine myself doing and how I like would like, you know, people to perceive me, and this is what I want to say to people. This is what I want to like promise to people. These are my intentions, and they're all good. But once again, we're harvesting perhaps less for ourselves because we're in a state of deficit because of these well-meaning intentions and caring for others and stuff. So it was a little bit perhaps naive to promise that much in the first place, but this is still in a way foresight, even though it's coming up in this idea of like what have we gathered and where are we coming from. It's also foresight because now we're having to face what it is that we promised in the past. I hope that makes sense. And then where we're headed and where our desires and our wishes really are aligning us is actually with the Empress in reverse. And I think this is bringing some of that energy back to ourselves, some of that nurturing, that caring, refilling our well of creativity and creative spirit rather than projecting it outwards. We're refilling it. You know, because the Empress upright is often like giving, giving and creating. And with it being in reverse, I just feel it's a little bit of pulling that back and nourishing ourselves with that energy so that we can turn it around in the future. Because really, I think it's possible that with the over-promising and the over-giving that we have been doing, that it actually, what it is we were offering wasn't fully aligned with our true purpose and desires. I think that it was alongside it, if that makes sense. It was side by side with our desires, we could almost trick ourselves into feeling like that's what we desire and that's what we were wanting to do. But it wasn't actually the full embodiment of that. It wasn't actually directly centered and aligned within it. So that's why we kind of have to pull back, and we have to find a way to be strong about that and to pull back so that we can rebuild our reserves and fill our well. So let's take a look on this side of this. What is our animal guardian at this time? Ooh, the hyena. Look at that half moon as well. Fire element, the hyena. I'm very curious about the message. Let's take a peek. Whoop. The messages aren't super long in this booklet, so we're just going to go ahead and read it, and I'll talk alongside it and see how this might relate. So the hyena. We're in the realm of fire. I never know how to find these messages super quickly. There it is. The hyena personality is a jokester and a crowd pleaser. There we go. But below the surface, there are unfulfilled dreams to be realized. This makes sense. When the hyena card appears, it's time to reflect on your reliance on sarcasm and humor to express your truth. This almost feels, here, I'm going to move it out so you can see it a bit better. This feels related to this, actually. It's like speaking and saying and communicating in such a way that we feel like people are going to relate to us more. And maybe with the page, it's even like in a self-deprecating kind of way as well. But in doing that, we're kind of like, we're also stealing from ourselves and we're not aligning with our full purpose. And the hyena is here to tell us that. Especially if you're someone who is, putting yourself out there as like an entertainer or, really having to use like, communication and like showing your personality as part of the work that you're doing, or part of, having that be a big part of your life. That would make sense. Are you using jokes to hide old resentments in relationships? So there we go. That's how it can relate in a personal life. I immediately went to career because I was thinking about, being someone who has to sort of like be in front of people and maybe in some ways entertain, even though that isn't like the goal exactly of my work and of my channel. But in terms of personal life, this could be in relationships. Are you sort of like passing off as jokes things that actually like there's a reason behind it? There's something, there's something actually you want to communicate. It says, are you using jokes to hide old resentments in relationships or to mask things that you feel uncomfortable discussing? What would happen if you took your goals seriously? So the hyena is here to help protect us with that and help show us that and say, how about you express your truth? And maybe, if you do need to like save some room and some energy and some space for yourself, maybe say that honestly, maybe set a boundary honestly, and the hyena is here to protect you as you do that. I also feel with this being the half moon in the background, it just makes me think of like bringing things back into balance. We're at a deficit, so let's bring it back into balance. The herbal ally to go along with this is, oh wow, dogwood defend. How perfect is that? So I love dogwood trees. I mean, they're beautiful. But yeah, defend. They smell strange, don't they? I'm thinking of, I believe that's the tree that I'm thinking of, that has like the beautiful flowers at the neck. It has this like very strong aroma. Perhaps that's part of this like defend message. It's like, I know that this seems really pleasing and you want to come and you want to like pick all of my flowers, but I'm going to keep you away somehow. And maybe I'm putting off an energy to kind of like let you keep your distance. If I'm remembering this correctly in terms of this tree, I believe so though. But hey, wow, defend coming up in terms of our guardian, what's guarding us. that makes sense. So maybe the hyena is giving us permission, and the dogwood to create a sense about us so that people don't automatically think that they can take advantage of us or pull from us too much, or not take us seriously because we're not presenting things that are serious to us in a serious way. So this might be a sort of like an energy to take on. So calling upon the dogwood and thinking about that as an image, as an example, would be a good way to deal with it. All right, let's take a look at the other side. Who is our guide in moving us forward? The vulture with air. Ooh. Okay, let's take a look. Hey, I turned right to it. Perfect. The vulture is perhaps the most misunderstood creature of all. This intriguing bird balances our ecosystem and prevents the spread of disease. One thing I want to say really fast is that it is possible that we will be misunderstood. And pulling back our energy and our time and our giving, caring, nurturing nature back into ourselves, people might misunderstand that as like a withdrawal that's personal to them. So maybe once again, this is like, hey, don't play this off as not a big deal. Maybe you do have to kind of like say it with the weight that it is, like, oh, I'm just taking time for myself. I need that time for myself. To prevent misunderstanding. I feel like maybe the vultures help guiding us, and that's one of the messages for that. The vulture does the dirty work that no one else wants to do when cleaning up our messes. The vulture appears when there's a situation that needs to be purified or brought back into balance. Hey, just like that. Yeah. It does kind of feel like cleaning, especially with this, it's like kind of cleaning up for past situations that we've created in which we're having to overgive or we're having to continue to overgive. Yes. Remember, the vulture is greatly undervalued. What you thought was a mistake or tragedy is a blessing in disguise. So there have been challenges that have come with this so far, but in going forward, I think the vulture is going to lead us to a place where we're like, okay, I'm glad that I went through that lesson. I'm glad I went through that situation where I felt totally depleted, and then I had to pull back. And I had to, like Capricorn, it feels like it's first of all, boundaries, it's connected to Saturn, and being a very like structural, very strong, element, a strong sign, a strong energy. That's kind of what we need. And in taking that on, in the future, we can look back and say, okay, that was worthwhile. Like, I'm glad I had that lesson. I'm glad I had that experience. Our herbal ally with this is the cattail with build. Wait a second. Do you know what was crazy? I speed up the part where I shuffle the cards and put them out. So I don't know if you'll be able to see that, or you would have noticed with it all sped up. But a card fell out when I was pulling this side. And it was this card, build. And I put it back in the deck. And I was like, oh no, I'm going to do my typical, what I do is I shuffle the deck and I cut it. And then I go to the third card. And that's what I do every single time. And I was like, I'm just going to put it back in and do my same shuffle, cut, pull the third card. It came out again. So this is really, really what it wants to say. Build, the cattail. So our herbal ally, I think, is saying that, just like we were talking about boundaries and structure and kind of strength, all of that Capricorn type of energy, we are using this to build something in the future. You don't want your building blocks to be crumbly. You don't want it to be clay that's been like, I don't know, like what makes clay not strong? Is it when it gets super wet and it's not like fired, or when it's maybe it's got super dry and it's crumbly? Whatever it is that makes that happen, we don't want our clay and our bricks to be crumbly and be kind of already falling apart when we're trying to build with them. So that's why it's important to regain our strength, regain our boundaries, because don't forget that what it is that you have and what it is that you're using is the building blocks of what you're creating. And if you use crumbling building blocks because you've sucked all of the strength out of it by giving that away, you know, for nothing in return, or for just like acceptance in return, or you know what I mean? If you've given all of that away and you're building with crumbly blocks, that's how we get into tower situations. That's when our tower falls. And then we rebuild back stronger. So the vulture, you know, has that message, like, it's okay, you know, this is for a reason. But I think that that's what's important here with the cattail. And I'm also thinking about how cattails are right by water. And, you know, we are in Cancer season. And a lot of this, I think, with starting with this card here at the beginning, a lot of this is emotional because we want to be accepted. You know, we want to be loved. We want to give. We are, you know, that's coming from a genuine place. But the cattail existing next to water or coming up through the water, I feel like there's some kind of a message with that. And I think it's like we can recognize the feelings that are behind it, and then we can still find a way to find the strength to protect ourselves and be able to build going forward. So it's not about denying that part of ourselves. It's about working with it. That's what I would say the message is there. So that is our spread. Do let me know what you think. Let me know if this resonated with you. And let me put the eyes back in its spot so it looks cute. That's our white stag. So if you would like this spread, especially for you, we'll look at exactly, you know, what's going on with you. That'll be tomorrow. So hit that notification bell, subscribe if you haven't, give this video a like too while you're at it, but hit that notification bell if you're watching this on Sunday, or to come check out the channel on Monday on the actual full moon day, and you can see when we're doing personalized readings, and I would so love to see you there. Otherwise, thank you all so much for spending time with me. I hope that you have a happy full moon. Don't forget to put your crystals out if you like to do that. I'm going to do that right after I turn this off and finish this so that it can charge overnight and I can have them ready for the stream tomorrow. So much love, friends. Thank you for being here. I hope this collective message resonated, and I will see you soon. Goodbye.